Alright, so this video is for anyone who's looking to make their first mission for ASOR, or just wants to see how ASORedit works and see how hard it is maybe to make a mission. So I'm going to be covering a fair bit of basics and just all the things that you would need to do to make a mission, really. It's going to be a pretty basic mission, just going to do a patrol op. So I've chosen this valley here. I think this will be good. I'm going to do a VC op, and I'm just a basic patrol op. So this is what I've chosen, and then in the Mission Makers Only channel we have like what we call area templates, and that's what I've got open at the moment. So when you're going to make a mission in an area, you just plonk down a marker. So I've plonked down this one on this area here, made sure no one else is already using this area, and then I've uploaded that to the areas channel. That's just so people don't double up on areas at the same time. So now I'm going to create a new one, and I'll save it as, and usually the naming we use for, you can see there ASOR op, underscore ASOR op, and then underscore your op name. What was I calling this? Kono. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is, when you're making an op, you want to plan it out. You want to have at least primary and secondary objectives. You can have tertiary ones as well. What's the difference, right? So the primary objective is what you want to achieve on the night. So patrol op is probably not the best example for setting up objectives, but so a primary objective for like a patrol op would be to clear the area, your designated area of enemy presence, right? And a secondary objective might be just to inflict casualties or destroy assets or locate a patrol base that they might have set up in the area, something like that. Normally in OPL you'll have some sort of objective, like if you think about like say the objective is to kill a base or something, then you might have secondary objectives that support the ability to achieve the primary objective. So say you're attacking a base, but before you do that you want to take out, an artillery position that covers the base or you want to kill some QRF that will support the base if you attack it, stuff like that. That's your secondary objective. So normally throughout the night you'll do the secondary objectives, and about halfway through the night is when you try and complete the primary objectives, and then you might have some tertiary ones to fill out the rest of the night. So mine's going to be pretty simple. I'm just going to go with the primaries to clear the area and locate enemy positions that are set up in the area. So the premises for this is going to be that there is reports of American special forces or recon in the area, and we want to go out and find them. This little crazy area here will be our squirrely hidden away base, and we're going to go out to find them. So straight away, the first thing you're going to need is an ASOR main module. So the way ASORedit works is this runs ASORedit. So this will run the check for zones, and then zones are what spawn your enemy. So every few seconds this module will check if the players are in a zone, and it'll do this for every zone you've got, and if the players are in there it'll spawn that zone. That's the basic nuts and bolts of it. There's a couple of things to keep in mind when you're dealing with ASORedit and non-ASORedit stuff. So in here you'll see, sorry, in a unit I mean. No, that's right. So in here you'll see there's the basic stuff. So there's like, if I can name this zone, which will name it. Actually, what's a good example of this? I think it might be a unit. Let's just chuck these guys down. So either clicking on a unit, you'll see you get different, so that's unit options, and then this thing here is the group. the group options. So you're mostly going to use group options. So if I wanted to name this unit, this, you can see the unit options are in here as well. But the this will be for all units in the group, right? So say I wanted to name this guy, then this name here will only get used if the unit is spawned with ASORedit. If I use this name field here, it'll be what he spawned with at the start of the mission. So when ASOReddit starts up, it saves everything that's in the map that's linked to a zone and deletes it, and then it recreates it. So if you put a name in here that you need, say you want to move a person into a vehicle and you use some code, putting it in here and spawning it with ASOReddit will do nothing because it'll be deleted. The code doesn't transfer. So if this is a truck, right, and I wanted to move some units into it. So if I wanted to spawn the truck with AE, I'd name the truck here, and it would work, right? So I'll say like this guy, I know it's a dude, but say it's a truck. So I name him truck 1. And then when the truck spawns with ASOReddit, and I have some code in it in some units, I say moving cargo to truck 1, then they'll find truck 1 so long as it's spawned already. But if I put that truck 1 in here and then spawned it with ASOReddit, it wouldn't exist because it would be a new copy of it when it spawns. So just keep that in mind. It's the same for the code field. So this code here and this code here, or there's another one in the group options too. If you're not using code or whatever, don't worry about it. Like, it's something that just comes up pretty often, and I'll try and cover a few of the common things that come up with new people making missions as I go. But so the first thing you really want to do when you start a mission is create like a character that you can use to observe your mission and test your mission, and this leads into something else that you want to make a lot of, and that's compositions. So the first thing you want to make a unit that's going to be the same size as what you're playing. So I'm playing as VC, so I'm just going to make a VC unit. Oops, that's groups. So let's just it doesn't matter what dude, right? So I'm just anti-tank. I'm going to place him down, and I'm going to name him, because I'm not spawning with ASOReddit, I'm going to name him here, right? Just whatever. And then I'm going to get a Zeus module. So this is when I'm testing my mission. I can jump into Zeus, I can see what's going on and test the zone spawning and stuff. And then in the Zeus module, just add who owns it. Now, to save a composition, just highlight whatever it is, and you can include zones in this, and I'll show you later. I'll be doing like a rinse repeat with compositions, but you just go here and you go save custom composition. Type in a title, don't use any spaces, just use underscores, and then put in whatever character, like men or whatever. You can see I've got a bunch here already, right? So I've got a VC Zeus player, which is what we're making now. I've got a US, like a normal, I think that's a West, the same thing but for the West side, you know. So to get to compositions, you just go to F2 and then this custom thing over the side here. No, sorry. Yeah, that's right. And then, so if I had to save that, then I could just plonk it down again, and then there, bam, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to start making my mission. So we've got a test unit, right? So you can spawn our zones and test all that stuff. So we're going to start placing our enemy, and I said I wanted to have like American recon in the area. So let's start placing some. So I'm going to go to groups. I'm going to use actually I might use, how big are these groups? Let's use one of these groups now. With the groups, normally with ASOR factions, we create our own faction, but because the Vietnam mod has pretty good groups already. We haven't done that, right? We've done it with the VC, so there's ASOR VC and there's infantry and stuff, actually. And but yeah, for this I want to use American troops. I don't want to use Australian troops, so we don't have a blue 4-1. We've got our ASOR one, but I don't want to use them for enemy right now. So I'm just going to use the MAC-V ones. And if you use the normal groups, you just want to go through and check the units, because you really don't want masses of 40 mics, because they will destroy us. So this guy's got a 40 mic. I might just remove him. I don't want a sniper. So that's going to be my group, right? So it's slightly modified from the original, so I'm going to save it as a composition. So I can either, when I'm making these missions also too, if you select everything and then just hover over it and press Control C, Control V, you can copy in. And Control Z works for undo and stuff like that. So these guys, they're going to be sneaky piggy, right? So, right, there's two ways of tasking units with ASORedit. There's the group settings and there's a task module. This is something people often get confused, right? You do not need a task module. If you have a look in the task module, you've got these settings here. So that's the task, the radius, a bunch of settings, what they're going to do when they're doing the task, all that stuff. The same settings are in the group. So if we go to, that's their behavior, how they're going to, so for mine, I want them to be stealth, so they're getting around really slow, being sneaky peeky, right? I'm going to put them on normal for speed, and I won't put them on the crouch or anything, they'll do that by themselves. And then you can see the same task setting here as what's in the task module. So the difference is, if I want these guys to complete a task where they spawn, I can just use this. So where they spawn, I want them to sneaky peeky around for 200 by 200 area. Not got to worry about creation radius. I don't really want them to stop, so I'm just going to put that to 1. And then there's no buildings, it doesn't matter. And I'm not going to multiply them. So you see that that creates a blue ring around. That's so there we go. There we go. So they're going to spawn where they are now, and they're going to randomly patrol this area. Now, the reason why there's a task module is, if I wanted them to spawn here but patrol over here, like move to there and patrol a random area there, that's what it's for. So it's when you want to do a task in a different area to where they spawn. Otherwise, you don't need a task module. Exact same thing. So if you think like QRF heading to a location, that's when you want a task module. So these guys, where are they? I'm going to put them up in the hills. Now, I find what makes patrols interesting is, like, you're not just going to bump into, a 4-man patrol or whatever man that patrol is, and then there's no one else. They usually got support close by. They might even have a center of operations. Actually, sorry, let's just cover the zone first. So these guys need to be spawned. So the zone, you need to think about what direction is the enemy going to come from. Now, if you want to make your mission so they can come from any direction, then this zone needs to encompass, all sides. So I don't need to cover their patrol area. This is just when they spawn. So I'm going to put it to the same size at the moment, and just make sure this is set to any. Another important one is if we're playing as if we're going to have QRF as a helicopter, then definitely put this all ground. Unless it's near an LZ and you want them to be spawned before we touch the ground, then you might want to put it to all. But yeah, if you don't have it set to all ground, the helicopter flying over will spawn everything. So I need to link every unit to this zone, so I'm just going to select the top thing to select them all. Right click, sync zone. So now, if you have a look at the map version, you can see they've got their patrol radius. It's different to the zone, doesn't really matter. So what's going to happen as soon as the player enters the zone, that squad will spawn and start randomly patrolling. If you want them to have more time to move around or whatever, then just make the zone bigger. But I'm just going to show you how you can optimize it to, make it so it's a bit more staggered, the spawns. You can have up to 30 dudes max maybe to a zone, but there is seriously no limit on zones. I've had 200 zones in a mission one time to test it. It doesn't affect performance whatsoever. So you can, for this, so like I was saying before, there wouldn't be just one team, right? So let's just say a team's inserted, they've set up a camp, and then they're using that camp as their base to patrol out from. So let's find a location for their camp. Let's go in some little valley or something. So here looks good, right? So this is going to be their camp. So yeah, we'll leave that one there. That one's there. So now I'm going to copy this, right? And you could make a composition of this as well with the zone, and then you could just drag it in, right? In fact, let's do. Actually, no, I'm just going to copy paste. So they're sort of fanned out around their camp. And then the next day they'll move somewhere else and they'll set up another camp and they'll do another area, right? That's the premises of it. So I'll place something down here later. I won't spend all. Where do I say the camp was? Somewhere down here, isn't it? Wherever it is. So this will be their camp, right? I'm just going to put something here so I find it again. So what you'd want is when we come in, we'll probably trigger one or two of those squads and we'll be in a bit of a contact, and we want them to have some backup. So they got them dudes at the camp just being a bit of a support force. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these four, copy them, make a bit of a QRF team. So you gotta just keep in mind too, like you can imagine the player coming from this side. They might go off and do other shit and then come in this way. So just remember that always. Unless you're gonna really tell the commander where to go, they can do whatever. So now I want this team to respond if one of these teams get into contact. So what I'm going to do, I could get a bit more complex here, but I'm just going to keep it simple, right? So the So the trick with this, when you're doing a central position like this, is make each zone overlap the center. So you can see, like, this zone here needs to overlap the center. This zone needs to overlap the center. And this zone needs to overlap the center. And the reason for that is, if somehow the player comes down this way and gets to the camp without bumping into one of these patrols, at least the patrols will exist when they get to the camp. Whereas, you know, if you didn't overlap the camp and they came in, then they wouldn't exist. They could actually go off and not even contact some patrol. And then same with any Foxtrot trigger. Like, if I put this, I was about to put this here like this, but if they come down this way and then someone walks around here, you're going to get a whole bunch of dudes spawn on you at the camp, which is what you want to avoid. So I'm just going to make this a bit more circular. So I want it to be a smaller zone than the others, but still cover that central camp. I'm going to do two like that. And then this is going to be the Foxtrot for this side. And this is going to be the Foxtrot for this side. And I'm going to put a task in. I'm going to make this task quite big-ish. And I want them to patrol that area. And they're alert now because they've, you know, contacted the enemy. For task modules, you just need to, not the zone, sorry. Just need to link everyone to the task. If you hold Control and Shift, that's how you multiple select stuff. Oh, I didn't do the zone. And they've got a little bit of a base and a setup, so that'll be pretty full-on contact. Once we bump one of these teams, you know, the other team's going to hear us and come for support, the QRF's going to come out, and even though the task module's out here, they won't spawn until we're right in contact with these teams, so it's just like a after thing. And now, it seems weird, you probably don't notice it when you're playing, but I'm just going to copy paste. And I could save this as a composition, this whole thing. Don't select your camera when you move stuff, you'll freak out. So I'm just going to rinse repeat this somewhere else, right? So let's go. Let's have a look. Got a town there, sort of. Let's put them. I think I put them in this valley, this hill area. Maybe there's a road there though. Be open here with the village. What did I say? This was our base. Maybe put it on this hill. Here we go. So I'm just going to paste it here. Shit's all up in the air. See that? Watch out for that. But to fix that, right, when you highlight everything, you know, there might be some guys in the air too or whatever. If you've got everything highlighted, get above it, hold Alt, and just drag it down where you got everything selected, and it will drag it down to it rests on the ground. Now, I might just have a look in the map, see how I want to orientate this. So the most likely direction is going to be from the top or the side. So I'll put it around that way. Put the base somewhere there. Let's have a look. If you have middle mouse button, you can move your camera around like that. Oh no, that's a shit spot. They want to be in trees. And it might have to be on the hill. Not very smart recon there on top of the hill. There we go. So now I just need to check, because I just moved this shit around everywhere. This is what you want to watch out for. You don't want guys inside rocks, because they sometimes can still shoot you. Put them there, that's the QRF. 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 The other one. Oh, yeah. It's good. Just moving that down a bit so he's not on the side of the hill. Still want him to cover that camp. You see on the other side of the camp here, there's this steep ass hill, right? So if the player comes up here, they're not going to sprint up here. They can easily put a zone on that hill. That's fine. Don't want these guys on the hill. Every now and then I just go back in to check that the, so that, oh, what my mistake here? This is meant to be on patrol. I think I missed that. Shit. So, this is a good example of when to use this menu over here on the left. So now I like have to go back to every patrol that I just placed, right, and check that they're on patrol. Actually, that was a 4-man. So I want to get all the larger groups, larger patrol groups. So these ones. So I can just shift click them on the left here. Not that one. And then right click and go attributes. And it's going to change it for all teams, right? So I can say stealth. So now all these should be set to patrol. This is the quicker way of doing it, especially if you got a whole heap. And this is why you need to test your mission, right? So if I'd have tested that, then I would have got in, they would spawn, and just be standing there like idiots. So let's give it a test. Always save before you test, because when it crashes, you'll cry. You're gonna get a bunch of debug messages in the editor when you're doing stuff. So like all this stuff at the top there, and then it'll show you when zones spawn. That's telling me what the zone activated. You know, spanning out, doing their thing. And the thing that's going to save you a heap of time is plus and minus, is plus time. If you press the right key. There you go, hit another zone. Oh, the QRF's coming already. So you can see that's worked, right? I've hit the QRF. So the recon's, for argument's sake, the recon's spotted me, and they've sent the QRF out. And we'll get in contact. Now all these other teams will react, and I'll be in a big fight, right? So that's working as intended. Could maybe move the This is where you look and you'll tweak the the zones and stuff as you test them. Maybe, you know, the QRF came a little bit earlier than what I wanted, so maybe I can. I think it's because it's going up a hill there. So unless the recon team comes over those hills, I'm not going to bump them first. But either way, I think it worked good enough. Just give this one a quick test. Let's try and go down the middle. See how. Oh, I just did the middle, didn't I? You can start in the zone too. Just I'll show you. It's just that means they spawn straight away. So that zone spawned already. Another thing you can do too, if you want to just test multiple stuff, if you go into map in the editor and you realise where you are. Here. I'm in this town, aren't I? So I want to go over and test the other zone, just alt click and it teleports you. So teleport into the zone. A bit closer. There you go. So I could just teleport around the map and test stuff. You have to use like the Zeus module or anything like that. Or the Ace one, whatever. Have a look now. The two recon teams spawned, or the QRF spawned as well. So there is a bit better way you could do the QRF to make it so they actually respond to the area that the contact's going on, but I don't want to complicate this mission for now. This will do for a first mission, and this is what you really want to do for your first mission. Keep it simple. Get something in, play as the intel officer in the game, see how your zones work and how the game plays out. So understand this isn't a full op, right? Like there needs to be a lot more content than this, but I'm going to add to this and make a full mission. But for now, this will do for an example on how to use the basic ASORedit stuff. Just with this zone staggering, keep this in mind too. Like the classic is like we're assaulting a compound, right? So say this little town, or we could use this town as an example. Say we wanted to attack this town because we think there's enemy occupied in there. The way you want to do it is generally like a 3-zone setup. So you'd have an inner zone, and then you'd have an outer zone, which is a bit bigger. And then you'd have the extreme outer zone, and I might, you know, make this 1,000, and I'd make this spawn by all, so it'll even helicopters coming in, or maybe that's a bit extreme, but you get the idea. And then, so what happens is, as we approach, let's just make this half. So as we fly into an LZ, right, and land, as we fly in, that, you know, the bigger zone will spawn the outer patrols, or, you know, like some outer stuff all around the map. And then as we approach the town, the second zone will spawn, you know, the defenses close into the town, maybe even some dudes in the town, maybe a foxtrot in the town that comes out. and then the inner zone will spawn the dudes inside the buildings. And the reason why you do it like that is one, performance, so you're only spawning this stuff in stages, and two, it keeps a constant flow of stuff. You don't just fly in, insert, everything spawns, first contact happens, all the AI rush to our position, we kill them all, and then we clear the town with nothing going on for an hour or half an hour. So this keeps a bit of flow, bit of action throughout the whole thing, but without making it too extreme. And then the other one, the actual fourth one you can do is have a really small one. And that triggers some dudes off over here that come in vehicles or on foot, or as VC helicopters come in, and that's the QRF. So when we get into the town, we trigger the QRF or a counter attack, let's say, something like that. So they're good, like standard setups. So I just want to cover how to set up the mission though, like with the ASOR. So there's basically requirements for each ASOR op that you gotta tick off for it to be an ASOR op, and that's that document you might have seen before. So this is the mission requirements. Every op needs to have this, right? Like, and we need a foxtrot so we can spawn. We need to have a medical facility so we can heal up our wounded in between times, or do medivacs or whatever. This changes with VC. Obviously, you got the CP. You're going to place that down, but you're still going to need the foxtrot thing. So this includes a respawn marker, and for our VC op, it'll be named respawn east, and I'll show you this in a sec. And you need a marker named like this too. And this is where you want to have all this stuff templated, whether it's a composition or another map that you just merge in, or you copy in, which is what I'm going to show you. But I just want to cover off, like, if we're playing American forces, we need a QRF with vehicle, helicopter, and cargo pads, at least 2 of each, especially for X-ray. Even if there's only 1 X-ray, you need 2 pads. There shouldn't be any gear selectors near the QRF point. That's, it's just to stop Foxtrot people being tempted to rearm and stuff like that. You need the ASOR units in, and they need to be playable. And you need 1 unit set as player. I'll show you that as well. Wherever we spawn in and the gear selectors are, you need to have a main sign there, just in case you need to do location selection, or someone that comes in late needs to move to the QRF point. Gear selectors, yeah, I already covered that. This is vehicle selectors at the spawn, right? If we're going to be moving out anywhere, you might need it at the spawn. And this comment here is just for, if there is an ASOR enemy faction, use that faction. Don't use standard stuff, but I've already explained that at the start. Because the factions we make are configured properly. There's not an extreme of 203s like I was talking about before, or other things that are buggy in the game. Like at one stage, if you put a sapper in, you'd attack a building and a sapper would just blow the fucking building up before you even finish clearing it. So it just avoids all those sort of bugs. And then there's ASOR settings module, which does a whole heap of shit, and you're going to notice that your mission takes ages to load once you put this in. So don't put it in until you finish making your mission. And then there's a headless module, and then I'll cover the Description.ext briefly. But the first thing I want to do is I can tick off a bunch of these by merging in one template. Save this, and I'm just going to open this template, and this is available in the mission making areas. Like, there's heaps of these templates. There's ones with full bases set up for the US and stuff. The VC stuff's a bit newer, so I've made this one. I haven't even posted this up yet, but I will. So all it is oh, I see a mistake already, maybe? No. Yes, I do see a mistake. I haven't finished it. So you need to have 1 unit as playable. And what does this mean? This is, if you come into the unit settings, not the group settings, and control, you can see it's player or playable. Playable means you can join it as multiplayer as a player. And you need to have 1 player. If you don't have 1 unit set as player, when you start your mission, when you put it on the server, you'll get no slots, and you won't be able to join it for some reason. It just cracks the shits. So I need to make all these guys playable, right? So I'm just going to hold Control Shift and select all these units. It's probably good that I forgot to do this. control. There we go, control, playable. You can see I've selected the unit that was player before. It won't affect him, he's still player, right? I was meant to add Zeus modules too. I'll do that later, right? There'll be Zeus modules on the... Actually, I've been not putting on the commander. I'll put it on the... Actually, I wanted to add someone. This will show you how to add another unit. So he's the, that's the intel slot, basically. So he'll have the Zeus module. EXO will have a Zeus module, maybe. I'll just, because we're not using map markers for the VC, I've been not giving the commander Zeus module because I'm an asshole. So you can see the rest here is the template stuff. We've got the respawn east or respawn west if we're playing west. I've got the QRF marker. I've got the main sign over and I've got the vehicle pads, right? If we need vehicles, might not need all this stuff. And I've got the gear with the main sign. Something to keep in mind if you do have to set up a QRF point, there is a separate sign for QRF. If you go to ASOR, like kit, all the base stuff's in here. So you got the gear selectors, you got the para board. You've got, so there's a QRF sign. So the difference between this one and the main sign is this one doesn't have a gear selector on it. So that's what you want to have at QRF. Yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff in there. There's all the ammo crates if you want to pre-place some ammo. And then all the vehicle selector stuff. You can knock yourself out making that stuff. And you just got to link it to, in there there's a stand. And then you just place the pads and link it to the stand and auto does all the menus and stuff. Yeah, scuba gearbox if you do anything like that. So I've got this right, and now, so this is all the stuff that I need. So I'm just going to go highlight this all. And I could make this a composition, right? I could say this is a composition right now, but I'm not going to because I need to add to it. But if I go back to my mission, the fuck did I call it? So I know I'm going to start somewhere around this thing, so I'm just going to paste these guys up here. So that's everything I need for the mission, right? Like I don't need to really change anything, I just need to place them somewhere. Probably don't need vehicle selectors for this one, it's just going to be a foot mission, but I may put it in somewhere just in case we want to bump out a vehicle for whatever reason. But did you see, like I just moved that, right? Can you see there's something missing, right? There's markers missing. Why is there markers missing? So I selected this and copied it, but if you don't go to map, you don't get the markers. So just watch out for that one. Same as if I select everything, right, and I move it, I'm not gonna be moving the markers. So just watch out for that. So I won't position these, but basically I'll probably get rid of all these markers. Maybe have yeah, I won't need that one. I'll probably just use this one and then have I've just got these in case the teams all start separated. And you want to place them around. Leaving all the teams, don't think, oh, we only use these teams. Usually I'll just put in extra just in case. So Yeah, with it, when you make templates, try and overmake them. So when you bring it in, it's heaps quicker just to remove stuff than it is to like. If I had to place all these markers and name them and whatever, it'd just be annoying, right? So like, it's heaps quicker just to bring it all in and then delete it. So it doesn't matter where these things are. They can just be somewhere. Usually try and put them with the main module, because if you import some templates, the you want to make sure that there's only one AE module, and the quickest way to do that is on the left here, go to Systems and just check there'll be two AE mains, and you definitely only need one. Now the other thing is, still remember I had this test character, so what that's done, because he was already player, it's auto set my dude to playable, right? So I'm like, okay, I've got everything in, I'm ready to save the mission, I don't need my test character anymore, bam, I'm just going to get it'll work in the editor here, but when you go on the server you'll have an issue, so don't forget that one. And the last thing you need to do is a Description.ext. The easiest way is to grab it from some other mission, right? Well, if you don't have another mission, then just hit us up, we'll send you one, and just copy it, because it's got a whole bunch of shit in there, which you'll see in a second. And it just needs to be in your mission directory, which your mission directory is always going to be my docs ARMA3, and then you're either going to have ARMA3 or ARMA3 other profiles. It just depends if you're using the default profile it created for you when you installed the game, or you've created another profile in the game. You'll know because your mission will be in there, right? Like when you save it, it'll be in the one that's active. So now in here, all you need to do is change your name. So you put your name in there and operation. Save, done. So you can see all that. It just loads a bunch of stuff, right? It's setting up the gear selector. So the gear selectors, vehicle selectors, civilians, and all that stuff. None of that'll work until you've got this this in the directory. You can place them; they just won't work like in the And then the ASOR settings module is what it does the respawn, it does all the radios, it does a bunch of shit, loads of heap of settings that we use to make our missions work properly. So that's it right now. To put your mission on the server for testing or whatever, you just need to go to export to multiplayer, and then what that'll do is I'll export it to the MP missions folder. And the first thing you want to do is rename not after the dot, but before the dot. Just put a 1 in there, right? So now you can upload that to the mission or to the server and test on the server, but I won't go through that. But the reason why I do this is if you get it on the server and then you go, oh shit, there's a mistake, I've got to fix that, then ARMA can have a problem with overwriting files sometimes. Rarely, but it does sometimes. So what will happen is if I didn't rename that and I go into the game and I go export to multiplayer and it tries to overwrite this file and it doesn't, then you upload it to the server, you go in, you get the same mistake, you're like, oh, I just fixed that, why is that still happening? And you just end up in this fuck around circle. So the other thing is you can't override missions on the server with the same name. So if you just, every time you export, just increment this number and then copy it up to the server, then you know which one's the latest one, you know it's a new copy, and everything to save you a bunch of time. This document here that I've been looking at has a whole bunch of info on how to make a mission, considerations that you need to do. I'm going to link this in the video description, so like if you want to have it, check it out. It's a whole bunch of info there on making missions. And just things that you want to check on the server. Definitely check these things before you do your up, because you'll make one crappy change and upload your new version and go, I tested all of it, it's fine. Every mission that before it goes live, confirm this shit works. Just save you so much grief of trying to get in the stress of having a broken mission at, 5 past op start time. I think that's it. I'll try and do some more of these videos, get into a bit more advanced stuff, but this is a good start, I think.